Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Apex Online Racing Grand Prix here in Britain. I'm Ben Rwaggy Amkasa, and today I'm on my own as my partner in crime, Amkasa, who usually is here, is unfortunately not very well. So you'll get to enjoy my entire voice for the rest of this Grand Prix. So, fun facts here for Silverstone. This has been part of the original World Championship in 1950 and has been hosted the British Grand Prix more than 50 times. It's actually one of the most legendary tracks to ever exist in F1 overall. Just in general, if you think about all the others, you've got Monza, for example, in that mix as well. This is built on an old World War II airfield. Silverstone first hosted the British Grand Prix in 1948, a race which attracted and reported 100,000 spectators. And then 2 years later, in 1950, Silverstone was chosen as the venue for the first race of the official Formula One Championship. Some amazing races have taken part there, and if Lewis Hamilton takes pole in this year in the official F1 at a British Grand Prix, he will set a new record for the most poles at his home event, which he's currently sharing alongside the legendary Ayrton Senna. These are the tyres that are available to the drivers today. You've got the hards, the mediums and the softs, and realistically you don't really want to be going onto the hards unless you have a mistake the first few laps of the Grand Prix, and even then you may not want to do it, as the mediums can actually go quite a long distance in this race. Here are the Apex Online Racing track records as they stand. Marcel Kiefer has got the pole time here of 1:26.132, and the entire race, the record right now, is by Brendan Lee, who's done a 39 minutes 32 seconds and 5:58. So brilliant, awesome, quick, legendary stuff, and we are already looking underway with the qualifying. But we're just going to quickly talk about the track a little bit. There is 3 DRS zones on this track, especially on the home straight. Lots of different elevation areas, and some of the hot zones you're going to be looking for are the Sector 3 little chicane you got right before the final 2 corners. As you can see, back in Season 15 it was Beresnay and Sorensen having a good old battle. So, let's get cracking with the Grand Prix. I'm just having a look at who is out on track at the minute. We've got Beaker, who's there at the minute, Assassin, Verstappen, Enigma, Ribson, Paddy, Blue, Riz Monster, Flash, Flexes Mercy. Rupert's back this week, which is brilliant to see. Jezza here as well with Sweat You, Richard B, and Mulchin's back. Brilliant. Some of really, really good drivers here. Enigma in particular is someone I do actually have my money on being one of the quickest drivers out there, as in I think he's going to be in the top 3. Do I think he's going to be able to take the pole position away today? Yes, I think he will. He's very quick. I mean, Beaker's put a lot of time into this track as well over the last week or so, but in particular today I've heard him non-stop talking about how he's practicing. So hopefully we can see some good results from him throughout this race. But it's not going to be easy, that's for sure, especially when you got the competition like this. We say this every week, but Apex Online Racing does deliver some incredible drivers and manage to put them all so closely matched together. So it can go anyway, really. I mean, Blue himself is actually a really quick driver. Not always the most consistent, but someone you can really rely on to be able to deliver a good time. Let's take a look at Ribson as well. If you remember last week, he was battling like crazy with some of the other cars on the track. And actually, this is something that Britain does promote, is tons of overtaking opportunities. There are a few corners where it is quite difficult, but you've got lots of DRS zones which allow you to... I mean, the home straight, you can't really do an overtake unless someone makes a mistake, but we already have some lap times coming in. So, the fastest of the 3 that's just been put in has just been done by Race Monster, who's done a 1:26.505, which is brilliant to see. Enigma there, 1:26.694. We will hopefully see 1:25s throughout. That's kind of the area we're looking for. Sort of a mid to high 125 is a really quick time to do, and personally I can't do it. That's what makes these guys so incredible to do. To be, sorry. And Rupert, here he is starting his hot lap. So let's have a little ride along and talk about the track a little bit. So there's turn 1. You don't really want to brake there at all. You want to hold yourself flat through. Make sure you get nicely onto here for the turn 3. Clip the apex beautifully. Don't run too wide because you want to be very quick over to the right to come into turn 4. Now get your foot buried, but not too early as the back end will kick out, as you've just seen. Now coming into turn 5, DRS wing wide open again. A little bit delayed there, but it's not going to be massively affecting him. Coming up now into turn 6 is a long left-hander, quite a difficult one, very aerodynamically challenging for the car. But into turn 7, you need to get a good run-off from this one. This is crucial if you want to get a really good lap time here, because if you don't go quickly on the exit, you will ruin your whole run throughout this stretch because you keep it planted throughout. Make sure you don't run too wide, otherwise you will invalidate. Doesn't look like Rupert did invalidate. Here comes left, going into Maggots and Beckett's now. Again, same situations you saw earlier. You need to get the exit speeds perfect so you can get the wing right wide open here on the hanger straight. Turn it down now, coming up to Stowe. Need to be on the far left here. Make sure you flick it in nicely. Get to the curbs. Just let go of the accelerator brake just a touch. Get yourself down a couple of gears. Oh, he's ran really wide there. I'm not sure if that's a validated lap. No, it must not be. Into the final chicane. And the final corner now. Again, another tough one. You want to get your power down, but you don't want to lose out. And he does a 1:26.839. A couple of moments there where I thought he had invalidated, but no, he actually did quite a good job at keeping the lap all together. So fastest so far is Ripson, who's done a 1:26.257. Really good lap time so far, but again, with 12 minutes remaining of the session, there's still so much track evolution, which does massively improve the speed that these drivers will actually be able to chuck down, and hopefully they'll be able to break the laws of physics, as that's what it seems to be required nowadays to be able to get pole position in these Formula 1 races. So look further down though, we've got a lot of people in the pits, but Verstappen is out on track at the minute doing an out lap. The ARC guys, there's 3 of them today. They do actually work really hard against each other. They battle each other to no end. Sweat You we saw battling with, I think it was Verstappen last week. And Paddy was actually battling, he wasn't battling with another ARC member, but he was battling hard. And he did a really solid overtake, which was actually quite impressive to see. Hopefully we can see him deliver the same sort of stuff again this week. So Jezza has done 2 laps. Flash has also done 2, and so has Rupert. Flash has come into the pits. And I don't think any of those 2 will be going for another hot lap. I'm just going to have a look at Jezza as he is. No, he's definitely coming in. Whereas Rupert, he's also coming in, yeah. No fuel, no opportunity. Assassin's come out there. Let's see how Verstappen does. It's going to be a tough... Oh, he's got a bit of traffic. That's Beaker. Or is it Richie B? A little bit of a lock up there. Not quite perfect. Not going to slow him down too much, but you really want to avoid locking up because it just flat spots your tyre and really ruins it. It was Richie B, yeah. And there he goes, getting nicely out of the way. How is Verstappen looking? Fair bit of a lock up again there on the left hand side. It's not really going to be helping his tyres. Oh, just tons of lockups everywhere. He needs to try and keep it very clean and very tidy. Doing good so far though. That was a nice exit. This is the one that's difficult. This, if you get the timing perfect, you can do. That was the line. That's the line that most drivers need to be looking for. Probably not as quick as he could have done it, but still a good line overall. Coming into Maggots and now Beckett's. There is a Ferrari. He might actually be able to slipstream this. Slipstreaming down the hanger straight on Assassin here. Assassin knows it. He says, I don't want to give you too much. I give you a little bit. You're welcome. Off you go. That was a good line there. Nicely clipped apex. Don't get the power too early on that corner. If you do, you're actually going to just lose a lot of speed throughout because you're actually going to run off and then you're going to have to correct it and it just ruins you altogether. Now, is he going to make a low 126? It's not a low. It's actually really quite a high 126. This is his fastest lap so far though, a 126.951, but it is not enough to be able to make it up there to the big boys. Now, I believe that was Assassin that just tore on past him. Yeah, he's someone who you can definitely rely on to be up there in the top 3. I think if I was to give it a top 3, I'd probably have gone Enigma, Assassin, and then P3 is a tough one. And we have seen some crazy lap speed from Rupert. I'd hope to see the same again. Last week out, we saw Flex's Marcy just on a whole new level, which was brilliant. It's nice to see him actually being able to contend with the others, not just for points positions, but in the qualifying as well. Because that was something you could rely on Flexes for, was purely making sure he was actually delivering some very quick race pace. But when it came to qualifying, he wasn't actually that quick. But last week he was very, very good. Assassin though, on the mediums, if he can get himself in the top 10 and relatively high up as well on the mediums, not only is that super impressive, it also stands him in really good stead going into the race. Because, again, like I said earlier on, softs to mediums or mediums to softs is definitely the strategy you want to be on. The question is, though, is it going to be quick enough to be able to put the mediums through? Race Monster has just improved with a 126.194. Clip that corner beautifully. There you go, and that one. Get your foot down. It's not a 125, and it is a lap. It's slightly faster than his previous, but he is still outside of the top 10, which actually doesn't warrant him using these mediums. He should really switch now to the softs to just try and get further up in the top 10. Because again, you know, the softs medium strategy is totally fine. There's no reason not to do it. So there's no reason not to go out again and do the softs. Here's Ripson, running a little bit wide there, getting on the curb, but still keeping it together, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. Tidiness, consistency. And I swear by this, that consistency is absolutely key in any sort of race. You know, you can be the fastest guy in the world at doing one hot lap, but when it comes to race pace, that doesn't mean anything. But obviously that's where it comes to being able to set quick lap times, but every lap. And there's Ripson jumping up again. Sorry, still staying P2. Sorry, he actually was 0.2 of a second slower, which is interesting. So Race Monster still leading. Sweat You improves. Look how close that is, though. It's 126.136. Nice, nice lap time there. Here comes Race Monster. They're going into the pits. Have a look around. Jezza further down on a. He must have been validated because he must have done it pretty early on. He's on 100% ERS. And he's letting everybody go past. It's definitely a warm-up lap. Although he may have actually just done an out lap, and I missed the fact that it said out lap. I have been known to make those mistakes. Let's see if he crosses the line. It wasn't invalidated. It was not. So yes, it was in fact an out lap. But here he is now, giving it the full beans. Gets a bit on the runoff. Could have cut turn 1 a little bit more. That would have actually given him a 10th or 2. But still, tiny lockup. A little bit of a slide there. Back end kick out. That was a major one. Almost lost that. That would have been a couple of tenths. Definitely lost there. But running good on the exit there. The charge down this DRS straight is good. And coming into the race, this is where you'll see a huge amount of battles, hopefully. When it comes to diving down the inside of this corner, it is doable. That's a wide run there for Jezza. He's still going. Hasn't invalidated. Or if he is running some serious understeer. I assume his ballast is just a bit too low. He's probably running 8 ballast. 9 ballast is ideal here if you can pull it off. Obviously, it does make it a lot harder for you too. Yeah, look at that. Run off wide in cops. That's got to be an invalidate, surely. No, somehow he held it together. But yeah, 9 ballast. If you can get the setup right, you can make it work beautifully. I mean, you've got to be delicate going through turn 1. Because if you actually oversteer just a touch too far, you will easily bin it. And the same for cops as well. Cops corner can really kill you if you run wide too much. Or let your back end get a bit happy. Then you can definitely lose a car. I mean, the easy fix for that is... Yeah, he must have invalidated. The easy fix for that is turn your rear anti-roll bar down. And that will actually give you more stability on the rear end. Sounds like a beaker. Yeah, he's done that corner beautifully. Let's see if he has... huge lockup there. I mean, flat spots in this game are nowhere near as impacting as they are in real life. As in real life, they would cause a huge vibration through the car. And we actually saw, I think it was in Baku, we saw an entire wing just blow off of, I think it was Vettel's car, which was not good. Here's Beaker still going strong. Just looking up the front runners, most of the front runners are actually in the pits at the minute. Sweat using the pits. The only person who's out on track at the minute is Race Monster. But we've only got 4 minutes and 15 seconds left of the session, which does tell me something very clear. These drivers are now preparing. Excuse me. They're now preparing themselves for the final push to deliver some incredible lap times and utilise the racetrack evolution as much as possible. Now, Beaker there, I'm not sure if he's come out a bit too early. He could actually do a lap, get himself in the pits now and then go again. But is he going to do that? He is, yeah. That's the right thing to do, I think. Because looking at the time, if he'd have done a lap, he'd have actually put himself in a very awkward predicament, because he would have to tear it around the track on the out lap to be able to then make it back in time for a hot lap. And if that gets invalidated, then you're done for. Race Monster though, he's giving it a hot lap. Has got a beautiful little camera angle there of his steering wheel. Looking really slow there. I'm not sure why he was so slow through that corner. Could have been a little bit quicker, but he's backed out. He must have been validated. Interesting. He's pretty much parked on the track. It's not like he's letting anyone pass. Well, maybe now. Is that blue? It is. I mean, he's also on an in lap. But he's got no fuel. And actually, looking at the time, he's got 2 minutes 50. He's going to have to be very quick into the pits and back out again. Will have time to do it, just about, like we saw with Beaker. Now he's going to be in... Oh, no. He's in low fuel mode. This is disaster for Blue. He has indeed put himself in a predicament. I don't think he's going to make it now. He just miscalculated the fuel, didn't do a lap time that was quick enough to be able to get him up into the top 3. And now he's not going to be able to benefit from the track being in its purest. I think this is him causing the yellow flag. I think he's now just quick enough. He's in big trouble now. I think he may just make it. But he, like I say, he will absolutely have to gun it around the track in order to make it back in time. Verstappen's on hot lap, giving it everything. A lot of weaving, as you can see in the cars behind. It's actually a really nice sight to see. You only ever see that really on the formation lap. But the others are giving it a good little wiggle. Where is Race Monster? Let's have a look. He's now on a flyer as well. He's actually not far behind Verstappen, who we saw earlier. He's got a lot of traffic though coming out, which is what Verstappen didn't have. Is this going to affect his lap? Oh, a little bit. He downshifted there to try and get the extra rotation. He rotated a bit too quick for him. He actually lost a bit of time there. I think he's only going to lose a 10th, but still, every 10th counts in a race that's all about thousandths of a second. Nice enough. I thought he was going to lose it there. It looked like he was actually... Oh, no, he's going into Magnussen Beckers. There's going to be traffic. Is the traffic going to get out of the way cleanly? He might actually get a slipstream here. I thought he was going to catch up on them a lot quicker than that. It's Beaker. Beaker might give him the slipstream. This might be Race Monster getting P1 from this. Look at the slipstream he's gaining on him now. That's good. Keep this corner tidy, and this pole position could be yours. I mean, it'll cost him an extra lap on tyres there. Not quite clipped the apex as much as he needed to. He needs to run that curve a lot more than that. Just don't get on the sausage curve. Here he comes there across the line. He does not improve. He is actually almost 2/10 slower. So I think the over rotation there of the car was what caused the problem. But Blue's out. He's in the pits, so he will not be able to improve his lap time. P6 is the best he can hope for. With 30 seconds remaining of the session, are we going to see some changes up there, or has Sweat You done enough to be able to hold on to pole position? I mean, Richie B is giving it everything though. He's really charging. Richie B is kind of the unsung hero of this league. He's obviously the league coordinator, but also he is someone you can rely on when it comes to pace. Not necessarily to be the top 3, but someone you can rely on to have consistent laps and actually keep himself out of trouble. He does get involved in some incidents that he could probably have avoided, but you know, that's how it runs for most of us. Paddy though didn't actually get a lap time in. Must have invalidated a few too many times. He invalidated on that tyre, that's for sure. So he's going to start dead last, and that'll be a very frustrated Paddy. Beaker currently P14 on a hot lap, giving it the full tear. I'm going to see who's up ahead. That's not Ripson. It is, in fact, a Richie B that's ahead of him. That's his teammate. No towing has been performed today. So Flex's Malce's across the line. He's gone 5th. Enigma's gone 6th. Richie B stays, he does improve, but stays 4th. Where is Beaker? Beaker's across the line. He stays in P14. So he's now improved. Assassin. I mean, I predicted the Ferrari boys to be up there in P1 and 2, but No, they are. One of them's even outside of the top 10 altogether, which really surprised me. Ripson staying P3. It's looking good for Sweat You. I mean, he's not on a hot lap. Where's Race Monster? He's also not on a hot lap. Here's Flash. He's really tearing. Look at the commitment from him. He's slower though. He's 200ths of a second slower. He's going to have to turn it around here to be able to pull himself up a couple of places. And he's going to have to pull off a miracle in this final few corners because it's just 3/10 away from the car ahead. He does improve, but again, it's just not enough to be able to close him up. And unless Race Monster or Jezza, let's look at Jezza. No, he's also on. That's it then. That's it done. So Sweat You takes pole position here in Britain. Race Monster takes P2. Ripson in 3rd. Rich B 4th. Flexes Marcy in 5th. Blue in 6th. Enigma in 7th. Rupert 8th. And that was Flash 9th. And I didn't catch who was P10. But surprisingly, Assassin, he looks out of shape today. Not performing at his best, which is sad to say the least. You would have expected to see him up there and really giving it the full beans, but no, sadly not. Apologies there, just had a little issue there I needed to quickly fix. So yeah, it was P10 was Verstappen, Mulchin is in P11, Jezza in P12, Assassin 13th as we talked about, Beaker in 14th, and Paddy did not get a time in and he will start in P15. But that's the fun thing about in Britain is that it can easily change. The weather can change at the drop of a hat. We don't know what the weather report is going to be for the race. I mean, obviously, living in Britain and knowing how the British weather can be, it's very likely it will rain at some point in this track, although it doesn't look like it's raining right now. And I'm looking at the clouds, and there's not very many of them. Light clouds in the sky. Again, they can change at the drop of a hat, so we may see rain mid to late in the race. And that will really spice things up if that was the case. Drivers are currently sorting out their race strategies. They're trying to think about how much fuel they're going to need to get them through the course, but also be able to have the lightest car on track too, so they are not losing out and bogging their tyres down when it comes to the start of the race. Ideally, that is somewhere you need to be careful. You can't afford to really lose any time there. If you do, you're really just opening yourself to being in the firing line when we get to lap 3 and the DRS becomes enabled. Tons of overtaking opportunity, like I was saying earlier, and it'll be really sad to see that. I wouldn't like to see any of the drivers actually have those sorts of situations, but it can happen. It has happened, and yeah, it'd be sad times if that did happen. So, formation lap has got underway. All the drivers will be doing their absolute best to ensure they have got their tyres at the optimal temperature. Now, I was way off when it came to my prediction in the qualifying. I don't think I could have been any further away unless I'd have put Paddy up in P1. Sweat You, though, he looks like he's on another level along with Race Monster. When it comes to the others, they were quite the way back. I think Sweat You has got what it takes to be able to take the race win. But he's, again, someone else who, I don't know, he's just kind of had a hit and miss sort of showing. I'm going to take the fact that he did really well in the qualifying as an indicator to suggest how well he's going to do in the actual race itself. So I am going to give him the pole position, the race win. But whether or not he's able to do that cleanly, as in penalty-wise, is a different story. I believe in him. I do believe in him. P2, I'm going to go with Ripson. I think Ripson is just performing really well in the last couple of races. In terms of actual pace today, in the qualifying he was really good. I think he's prepared himself a little bit for the race ahead. The suggestion that we saw 1 minute 26s in the qualifying tells me that these drivers know something that I don't in regards to the weather. I think they may have actually ran a bit more of a wet setup just to help them if there is any rain that can come. Obviously in Britain it can change, like I said earlier, at the drop of a hat. So, second to last corner coming up there for race leader. Now the final. Sweat You is going to be straight back onto the podium spot. In the pole position spot, my apologies. Brain is not here today, as you can imagine. I'm just looking at the tyres though. Outside of the top 10, there's only one driver who actually chose to not go on the mediums off the start, which is Beaker. That's an interesting strategy to go with, if I'm honest. I mean, yes, I can understand maybe I want to race like the guys up at the front, but mediums to softs will actually fare you better off going into the end of the race. But anyway, it's now time to put your money where your mouth is, put your foot down when the lights go out, and off we go with the British Grand Prix. And already we're seeing Sweaty getting off to a brilliant start. There's a Red Bull looking for some moves around the outside. That's getting shut down there by Ripson. Ripson runs a little wide, but he's brought it together, still keeping it strong. Only little change that's happening is Richard B was going for a move. There's Ripson going down the inside of Race Monster, but no, that's 3 wide now, coming up into turn 4. There's a lot of contact further back. That's Beaker getting involved. I think he's spanned. No, he's still holding on to it. So Ripson battling hard and holding on to P3, but there's a lot of scrapping going on at the back. Beaker and our Assassin are giving it everything. Assassin is slipstreaming the living daylights out of him. Paddy's managed to gain himself a place. He's up into P14 now. And now here's Assassin going around. He just couldn't do it enough. Let's have a look up the field though, because Flex's Marcy and Rupert, they're having a good scrap. Flex has actually almost lost the back end there. Kept it together now. Blue is going to be slipstream as much as he can. Actually, he's ran outside of the slipstream. He's going to fall back just a touch. Coming into Copsa, you don't want really to be doing that sort of situation. He's trying to protect himself against Enigma. Enigma knew what was going to happen. Slips down the inside, and so does Flash. He's also getting a place now coming into Maggots and Beckett. There's no real overtaking opportunities unless you are an absolute animal. And I did just see some carbon fiber go flying off the car there. There's Ripson losing out now. He's losing 2 places. He's going to lose a 3rd. There's Enigma going past him. That's actually going to be looking like Rupert's coming down the inside too. Ripson's in big trouble. I think he was the one who lost some elements on the front left wing, it looks like. I think he has, and that's now in danger for him. He ran wide. It's all falling apart. Richard B's also there with him. There's contact between the McLaren and the Renault driver. He's actually managed to hold on just enough. Richard B is behind him again. He runs wide, trying to get on the back of the Renault, and just chaos already on lap 1. But more importantly, we have everyone still in the race. Beaker's the one who lost out the most. He's had to go into the pits. Fresh wing for him. Left side is very damaged by the looks of things. And is that hard tyre? It is. So I remember me saying earlier, if you are going to have an incident on the first few laps, then you are going to want to look to switch to the hard compound tyre. Ideally, that's the only thing you can really do. But it's going to take a couple of laps to get those tyres up to temperature, and even if he does, his pace is going to be way off in comparison to the others. So I actually think that might be Beaker's race, done and dusted right there. Don't want to call him out already, but it seems as though that is the case. So biggest winner at the minute is tied. It's tied for 3 places. Enigma, Rupert, and Paddy have all tied for 3. The biggest losers are also tied for 3. It's Ripson, Richie, and Mulchan. They've all got 3 places, lost 2. So we'll see if that changes throughout. Obviously, only one person stopping so far, which has been Beaker, going on to the hard compound tyre. So Rupert, wow, what happened there? He ran really off track there. He just cut the corner completely. I'm surprised he didn't get a penalty for that. That could have been easily getting a 3-second penalty straight off the bat. I'm looking further downfield. That's actually Richard B right there on the back end of Blue. Trying to capitalise on it, but Blue's just a bit too far ahead. DRS will be enabled when we cross. That's a big lock up there from Richard B. Sweaty was setting the fastest lap of 130.869. Flexes beats it with a 130.723. DRS is enabled now, remember, and this is crucial. Now you're going to start to see people making overtakes, people starting to defend much harder than they have done in the past. Verstappen, he's right here on the back of Richard B. He's going to go for a dive down the inside. He's looking for it. He sends it. It's going to be a bit of a lock-up there. Richard B still holding the inside. That means now that Verstappen is going to struggle, but he's right there on the back of Richard B. As long as he doesn't get a bad exit, he will actually close in. Gets the DRS, but they both do. So there will not be a change of position unless Richard B falls apart in the braking zone, and he hasn't. So P8 stays Richard B. Assassin, though, he was right there on the back of Verstappen as well. I didn't actually see that. This battle here is really close. This is a battle for P8, remember. Richard B is just going to have to try and defend. Blue is right here on his teammate. Going into Cop's corner, he backs out. Team orders must have played a factor there because Blue did not want to get involved with his teammate. Did not want an unnecessary contact. Verstappen, though, he's right there. There's Assassin going around the inside of him too, going into Maggots. It's going to be a tough one. He's run wide. He's managed to keep it together just about, but he's actually not going to gain anything there. Ripson and Blue swap places. Blue took off there. I can only assume that there was a mistake made, and also a mistake there by Richard B. This 1, 2, 3 cars have just gone past him. Jez has made it a 4th. A little bit of a switcheroo. Jez is trying to get down the inside. It's huge battling moments going on right now. Is Jez going to go for a dive? I don't think he is. He's taking it the long way. There's Assassin just peeking his front end into this shot. And Assassin is going to fall in line behind Jezza. He gained a place on Richie B, and then he lost a place to Jezza, so no real gain has happened there. But this is such exciting stuff. Mulchin was having a look down the inside, but no contact there. He sent Assassin spinning. That's a big issue there. Richie B plows into the back of Mulchin. That was just a bit too deep there from Mulchin. That's cost Assassin 2 places more than he originally, 3 places, sorry, more than he actually bargained for. And I think Mulchin will be in trouble when it comes to the stewards. I mean, he's given the position back as an apology to Assassin, but that is still Assassin's race heavily affected. So obviously we'll leave that to the stewards to work out what the outcome of that is going to be. But still some exciting stuff happening here in F4 of Apex Online Racing's Pro League. We're calling it Pro League because these guys are the greatest. To me, anyway. So Verstappen chasing Ripson. Again, they're going to have DRS. Needs to get the exit better than that. It's still better than Ripson did. Only slightly, and that's why he's able to close up the gap along with the overtake mode on ERS and DRS. He's going to add a little look there for the inside. There's just not enough room there. Ripson shut the door on nicely. Says, stay back. I'm taking P7. I'm going to run with it as much as I can. But how long will he hold it for is the real question. Enigma, he's had a real recovery drive here. Let's have a look at position gains. The biggest recovery drive, though, is Paddy. Started dead last in 15th. Managed to climb up 6 places to get himself in P9. There's Ripson now under attack from Verstappen. Verstappen has not been able to get a move down the inside. But remember, look how close Paddy is now. He might make that 7 places gained if he has his way. DRS available to him. Off he goes, slipstreaming on Verstappen. It's not going to be a pass here because Verstappen also has a DRS. Is Verstappen going to go down the inside? Yeah, look, he backed out a little bit, almost lost his line. That's Ripson running wide, and now it's going to be Paddy breathing down the back of Verstappen's neck. And again, I don't think there's going to be any changes just yet. It's just too far off for it to change. Verstappen, though, he is just putting so much pressure on Ripson. If Ripson makes even the slightest mistake, Verstappen will just slide on past him. We'll not be taking any DM requests today. It's just going to be a move down the inside if he gets the opportunity. But he actually has the better run now. If he can get a good exit, not only is he actually attacking, he's also defending here too. Paddy might be able to benefit more. It looks like he had a better run on the exit. Runs into the fresh air so he can cool the brakes and tyres a little bit. There's a change there. Verstappen has gone down the inside and has managed to make it stick so far. There is a little bit of touch there between the two. Ripson's going to have the inside line. Is he going to hold it though? That's a real question. They both lock up. Ripson's now stuck on the outside. There's contact between them. Here comes Paddy down the inside. It's going to be a major move if he can pull this off. He had to back out. He's lost both places back again. But he is still right there with Jez. I think Jezza actually gave Paddy a bit of a nudge. Ripson gets a 3-second time penalty. Look at the mistake made by Ripson now. This is going to be Paddy's looking for an opportunity. There's nowhere to go. He's gone, faked him out. It's gone down the inside. That's a position almost gained if he can keep it going. He gets run off to the edge. Still on track just about. Ripson makes a bad mistake there on the exit, and this is Paddy taking P8. Beautiful stuff there from the Mercedes driver, and Ripson actually may have bad news bears coming along because this is going to be Jezza going down the inside, forcing Ripson to take an outside line. Huge dive down the inside, but he's done it. So Ripson loses 2 places in 2 corners. Disaster all around for Ripson. Further afield though, Enigma's managed to gain a place on Flex's Marcy. He's now up into the final podium spot. Beautiful stuff for him. If he can hold this out, he will have done a really good job at getting himself into the... Oh, that's actually a big mistake there from Enigma. Enigma's now going to have to try and recover that line. He's running a little bit wide, gets on the dirt. This is actually going to promote Flex's Marcy to be able to use everything. Chuck the kitchen sink at him and off he goes. Slingshots past him. Nicely done. So, Enigma back out of the podium spot. Further into P4 now. Where is Jezza? He's right there on the back. Actually, further up again. I just want to keep an eye on this Enigma battle with Flex's Marcy. Doesn't look like it's going to be any changes happening here, but Jezza is right here. Paddy actually trying to get a bit more momentum through that chicane. Caused him to have a rough line on the right-hander, but the entry corner there isn't a big deal. It's not a major time giver. Enigma there. Looking for a move down the inside. Not going to be able to get it. He's going to have to go around the outside. It's going to be a tough one. And there's Flex's Marcy really putting the pressure on him. But again, Enigma's going to have DRS and Slipstream this time. And I normally say that they can't really do an overtake here, but having seen the situation this right now, I think Enigma's going to take this. He's going to take the inside. Yeah, that's a done deal. Enigma back onto the podium. Paddy though, down, he's taking an inside line off Verstappen. Nice and easy move in the ARC esports team. Paddy just claimed that nicely. It's actually Jezza looking for an opportunity too on Verstappen. Verstappen is in some real trouble, but Paddy is going to be in front, which means that Verstappen will have DRS and slipstream to be able to benefit on the defence of Jezza. Jezza runs wide, has to recover, loses a lot more time than he anticipated there. That's why you might see him now just falling further back. Yeah, he is. Where's Flash though? Flash, I'm expecting him to be a lot higher up than he currently is. He's right there on the back of Ripson. They're coming into Becker's now. Not particularly getting the best camera angle there, unfortunately, but we are still able to see it now on the onboard. Here he is, chasing him down. Is he going to take the in or the outside? He goes for the inside. Ripson couldn't do anything to stop that from happening. He's still trying, but it's going to be... Oh, wow, Ripson, where's that recovery drive come from? He's now managed to go all the way around the outside. Retakes P10 away from Flash. And that is beautifully done there from Ripson. So, Flex's Marcy is now up into down into the pits. Changing himself onto the medium tyres. A little bit earlier than I anticipated, to be honest. He must have a setup that is not really helping him out that much. Running it a little bit hotter on the tyres. It seems like he's gone for more of a time trial setup. Not ideal when it comes to league racing by any stretch of the imagination, as it can massively affect your pace, especially when you get to a few laps into your tyres. You will have cooked them, the temperatures will be through the roof, and once your tyres are hot, you will not have any grip. Even if you are, and especially if you're in slipstream. The slipstream will be the main killer for any time trial setup on any track. Flash though, still here, still chasing Ripson. No changes are going to be happening anytime soon. I mean, the two Force Indies have swapped places as Richard B's been into the pits. 11 seconds is the gap between the two of them, but Beaker is 10.3 seconds behind Flex's Marcy, who has also pit. I'm just going to have a look at the leader situation. So if I remember correctly, it's around about a 23-second pit stop, as if that's how long it takes time you lose when you actually go for a pit. So 23 seconds, who's going to fall into that? That's going to be around about... Well, I mean, even if everybody above Beaker does pit, it's only if Flex's Marcy pits again. Beaker's just that far back that the only people that are going to really lose out to Beaker is Assassin and Mulchin. There's a bit of a swap of places there. That's Ripson into the pits. Fastest lap, though. So look at that. So fastest lap is Paddy, who's done 1:34.93. We've already seen that he's on a huge charge on these medium compound tyres, and it's standing him in really good stead, which is good to see. So let's have a look now. Oh no! Hopefully that's not. Hopefully it's just a visual bug on my side. But that would be disastrous to see. Oh, he's okay, we're good. I was very nervous there. I thought that Ripson had been stuck in the pits. That has been a factor a couple of times, but not this time around, which is good news for Ripson. Not the quickest lap time, not the quickest pit stop, sorry, that I've ever seen. But definitely. Oh, Jez has made a mistake. Now this is going to bring Verstappen into the firing line of Jezza. He's going to take the inside line. It's going to be a tough one. Coming up to Cop's Corner, he's going to have to lose a lot more time than he anticipated, but it does force Jezza to run wide, which is how Verstappen managed to make that pass happen, and that is Verstappen up into P7. Good job by him. Blue further upfield though, he's got the DRS and slipstream on Rupert. He's gaining on him very quickly. I think it's just going to be a little bit too much to ask for, but he doesn't know that. He's giving it everything. He did realise partway through the attempt he backed out nicely. Rupert had a little bit of a fake there. He does go himself into the pits, trying to do the pit stop just a bit earlier than Blue, ideally protecting his line. I mean, Blue actually looks like he's very comfortable on these tyres. It doesn't look like he's struggling at all, whereas Beaker just gets the 3-second time penalty. And a couple of pit stops happening, so Flash is in. Go from softs to mediums, I imagine. We'll go 9 laps on those tyres when he actually crosses the line. There he is. Rupert in as well. He's gone to the mediums too. I'm just seeing if Flash does decide to go on the hards. I mean, it'd be silly to do it, to be honest, because mediums will definitely make it to the end of the race from here. Yeah, no, he has. That's good. So Verstappen still chasing Jezza. DRS is available to him. He's going to be using this just to close the gap up. There's no overtaking opportunity going to happen here, but if he can keep himself together and keep the gap the way it is right now. Oh, actually, Jezza now, he's made a mistake. He's actually run wide. He's actually going to get a better exit as long as he doesn't run too wide. And no, Verstappen did really well there to keep on the back of him. Like I was saying earlier, it does look like Jezza is actually running just a bit too low on the ballast. and that's causing him to understeer like crazy. The car setup is just not performing how it needs to be. As I say that as Verstappen ran wide there on the entry of Maggots. He's going to have a better exit though than Jezza, which means he will get the DRS. Is he going to be able to make the gap close enough? It all depends on the front winger. Look at the pace he's chucking down now. Jezza goes defensive down the inside. 5 seconds stop go penalty for Race Monster for speeding in the pit lanes, and all that hype there between Jezza and Verstappen. Jezza defended it beautifully, and no changes in position. Here is Blue in the pits along with Enigma right there in front of him, so that's a really good sign for Blue to be this close to the front runners. As you can see, that's actually Paddy, I believe. No, Sweat You, sorry, in front of him. Not Paddy. Paddy's way out there in front. He's gone from dead last to P1. That's beautiful stuff from him. Obviously on the mediums as well. He will have to pit, and when he does pit, he will drop down quite a fair bit. I think he will drop to about P8, if I can guess accordingly. Obviously it's too early to predict because the mediums will be running for a lot longer. I mean, but providing he doesn't have any issues on the track, he is lapping way faster than anyone else at the minute. You can see by the raw pace that he's chucking down. And Jezza again, these tyres are starting to fall apart for Verstappen. Jezza's actually starting to pull away as a result. Look, 9/10 now is the gap between the two. I don't expect it to be dropping anytime soon. I think we'll be seeing Verstappen chuck himself in the pits. But when he does, where will he fall? Let's have a look. So like I said, 23 seconds, that puts him about 30 seconds. He will drop all the way down to P11. And that's if he doesn't have any wing damage. And if he chooses not... No, he hasn't got any wing damage. He's all good. I'll be interested to see how that pans out. Here's Rupert on the back of Enigma. Enigma's in trouble. He's got no DRS to use, and he went really wide there on the entry to Beckett's, and that's actually scared Rupert enough to stay back. But I mean, he's got, look at this now, he's charging. He's got the slipstream. Is Enigma going to go defensive? He is not. He's going to go take the outside line, and I think he tried to stick through and get the undercut, but he couldn't. And there's Rupert up into P9. Enigma giving him pressure though, trying to put him to make a mistake through the chicane, but Rupert is better than that. Holds his nerve, manages to get P9, and that is a position secured. Verstappen in the pits. Will fall, I think I said P12, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there he is. There's Flash. Gonna pass him. Oh, he's actually not. I thought he might lose another one, but he has actually come out in front of Flash. Flash's tyres will be much warmer than Verstappen's, which is why you're seeing the gap close up so severely. Verstappen as well having to run wide. There's contact between the two. No damage lost there on Flash. It was a bit of a nudge there. A bit of a love tap between the two drivers just to pre-warn him. Hey, I am here, by the way. Don't forget me. But now I have DRS. Now I have Slipstream. Now I have ERS. I'm going to just tear down your inside. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to have to let me take this position away from you. And now he puts my prediction right. He does fall to P12. But Flash is charging. So, the top 4 drivers are the ones that started on the mediums from the get-go. That's the reason why they're up there in the top 4 at the minute. Assassin is behind Jezza. Again, Jezza's car is understeering, so Assassin might be able to take him a lot faster in the corners. I wonder if he's going to notice that, though. If he's going to spot that Jezza is making... is having to take the corners a lot harder than he anticipated due to the understeering car. Richie B getting a 3-second time penalty. Ripson, though. Ripson's right here on the back of Pika. And Rupert is right here on the back of Enigma. Enigma must have got that pass back. And there he is, up into P8 now. So good recovery from him. And that's the difference of being knocked down to 2 points or not. You don't want to have that happen if you can avoid it. Just looking at Rupert. Enigma is actually really close to the back of Marcy. Doesn't have DRS this lap round, but Rupert also made a huge mistake coming through turn 3, and that's what cost him to lose a lot of time. He falls back quite considerably, almost lost out on the DRS, but he's brought it up to half a second. Verstappen, though, he's chasing down Flash, trying to recover the position lost. His tyres will be a lot more warmer now. It's just whether or not he's got the raw pace to be able to catch up to the back of Flash. I don't think he does. Flash is going to be taking that a lot tighter than I anticipated. A lot of the drivers there tend to make a much wider run, so that when you start facing in the right direction, you are able to just gun it past. Speaking of gunning, Assassin really close to the back of Jezza. Expected there to be a pass there, but no pass has been made just yet. Jezza again, look how wide he went there, just because he's got such an understeery setup. It's not working out for him. He needs to try and understand for future. He can't change his ballast now, but you could change the anti-roll bar. If you need to stay on the same ballast, you could change the anti-roll bar a little bit to try and give yourself a little bit more of a turning speed. It just didn't work out for him so far, but he's doing well to hold on to the position he's got. Sweat you sets the fastest lap. Rupert closed up enough onto Enigma, but Verstappen's repaired the favour back to Flash and has now taken P11 back. Verstappen is though really close to Flash's front end. Flash's got DRS, not using it though. That's interesting. Not sure why he's chosen not to use DRS there. Lock up there from Verstappen. That's going to bring Flash a little bit closer. Especially if you can get the exit here done better than Verstappen. A bit gingerly there on the accelerator, which does mean that Verstappen has actually pulled away quite considerably, and even with DRS, which he's still not using. I don't know if he's got an issue with his wing that's causing him not to be able to use DRS. It does happen, even in league races, but Enigma, he's now went from being getting overtaken by Rupert to now attacking Flex's Marcy. Flexes must have made a mistake at some point for Enigma to be closing in this quickly, but he is going to be getting onto a better line, going through Maggots and then Beckett's, and now he's got the exit. This is perfect for Enigma. This is going to be a nice and easy overtake, I think. Yeah, and Flexes does try to stay defensive. As soon as he gets out of the dirty air of Flexes, the pace is a bit more matched. Flexes actually still side by side. They're going to be battling all the way into the chicane. Who's going to come out on top? I mean, it looks like Flex is going to actually hold the inside line, and he has. So Flex is driven like an absolute master. Rupert trying to capitalise on that as well. And I can't believe how good of a drive Flexes did there. It looked like he was going to lose the position on the hanger straight. Enigma then ran off into the air on the outside, tried to hold the line throughout. Coming into the chicane, Flexes just said, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not letting you have anything from me. And beautiful stuff there from Flexes Marcy. Keeps hold of P6, but he's going to have to do it all over again as we're on the DRS straight here. It's just going to be a gap closer. Nothing more, really. Although Enigma now, he's actually going to have to pay a lot more attention to his wing mirrors. Flexes Marcy there. His nerve is not that cool as he gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not the ideal situation to be in. There's Blue though, right on the back of this little scrap that's going on. Rupert as well going to have to think about being defensive. There's all a 4-way battle for P6, which Flexes Marcy is winning at the minute. But look at Enigma there again. Really close coming through Maggots and now going into Beckett's. He needs to get a better exit than Max Flexes. He knows it, which is why he gets on the power so early. Again though, look at him closing in. This has got to be a job done now. Gets into the air, but look again. I don't know how Flexes Marcy is able to do this. He must be running much lower wings than Enigma. And Enigma just cannot get the pace when he gets into the clean air. That's when you see him fall apart a little bit. Flexes Marcy not able to stay alongside him this time. And that is why you're now seeing Enigma taking the position away from Flexes. But just a little bit further back, nothing changed too drastically. Apart from the front runners have now pitted. There's Enigma running really off the track there. He's actually going to lose a lot of time. Here comes Flexes down the inside. Rupert's also looking to capitalise on it. Enigma runs really wide. They almost come together, do Rupert and Enigma. Flexes is trying to get a better exit. Enigma also tried to do the same thing. He's panicked a little bit. He's managed to spin the rears just a touch. They are side by side, but Flexes Marcy is ahead. We're all seeing this, and that's Rupert going for a move. Is he going to take it down the inside? It's going to be a tough one. He's quite blind. He can't see Enigma. He hasn't got a clue where he is. Flexes Marcy, though, has got the inside still, and there's Blue trying to get a little snip in there of Enigma. Enigma's come back in again. Enigma driving like the champ and tearing it through on the inside of Rupert. What a battle this is. I did not expect to be seeing this coming into the British Grand Prix, but look at them going for it. Rupert's round wide. Here comes Blue looking for a move going into the entry. This is going to be a tough one. One of them's got to back out, and it's Blue. Blue decided, I'm not risking anything for this. We're doing well. We're having good fun battles, and I want these points. But because of that, it's now brought Paddy into this battle. It's now become a 5-car battle for P4 now as the front runners have pit. And now Jezza's in there as well. It's only been likely that we're going to see him coming in. Here comes Paddy down the inside. We've seen him driving like an absolute machine so far. And he's carrying that on. He's into P7. Beautiful stuff there from Paddy. Although Big Blue's right there. He's not giving in to him, but he has now surrendered the position. And Paddy getting involved, starting to take control. Says, move over, guys. I am the kingpin here. I will be taking these positions away from you. Next up, Rupert, you're mine. Enigma closing in a little bit quicker on Flex's Marcy than Flex's was looking for. Here's Enigma again. Keep an eye on that back end. Is he pushing a bit too hard? No, he's actually done beautifully. That is a really good run there. I actually think now Enigma will close himself up enough. He's not gone for the overtake mode because he knows he's just too far back. He needs to maintain the pace, maintain the pressure. This is where we saw Flex's get a 3-second time penalty earlier. He runs a little bit wide there. That's why he's taking such a wide line through that. It can actually work out quite nicely, but it didn't work out for Enigma this time around, and that's why he's further down. Look at Assassin though. Here he is going around Jezza. Jezza runs wide again because of the understeer, and here comes Assassin. He's going to take the outside line coming into Cops. He is almost past him. Jezza's right there with him. There's contact. Assassin has been spun again. It was Mulchan the first time. It's now Jezza who went on the inside of him on Cops. And that is just a disaster for Assassin. No matter what he does to try and pull it back together, he just keeps getting involved in stuff that's... I mean, it wasn't even his fault. Neither of them have been his fault. He's just been the victim for both situations. And down into P14 goes Assassin. Wow, look at Ripson though, tearing on past Flash there. Nice little move down the inside, coming into Stowe. And that's it, done and dusted. Beaker also not far off this battle too. And this is a battle for a point, remember. They are very close to each other, and if Beaker can capitalise on this and get past Ripson, he will actually be able to benefit from it. I mean, let's have a look at those tyres. Those tyres do look pretty cool. Let's be truthfully honest. I do like the colour on those hard compound tyres, although he's actually making them look pretty hot right now. Are you sure they're not soft? Beaker's going for a deep dive down the inside. There's a little touch there. That was very close. Beaker's going to back at him again though. Flash is going to have to pay a huge amount of attention to his full 360-degree rotation, as Beaker is going to be looking to capitalise wherever he can. Flash is in trouble. He's got no slipstream to use, but neither does Beaker. Beaker does have it, but he's not going to be able to make the pass happen. He's had to run wide. He's understeered just a bit too much. Paddy though, was that contact? Yes, there's contact between the two. Beaker and Ribson, they've come together. There's, oh, Richie B had a moment of panic there. Slight little heart attack moment for Richie B. Luckily, ghosting is on. But that was, I think that was all Beaker. Beaker went for a move down the inside of Flash, collided into Flash and sent him spinning, sent them both spinning. And we saw Mulchan come through, we saw Assassin come through, we saw Richie B, we saw his heart stop for a second, and then we saw his car almost stop completely, but somebody who isn't stopping is Paddy and Rupert. They are battling and scrapping all the way through. Paddy did make the pass happen. He's got a really tight line. That's why Rupert's taking. I think he gave that position back. I think he knows I did overtake off the track, and that's illegal in every stretch of the imagination. So now he's going to have to just do what he did again, but this time keep it on track. Flex's Marcy though and Enigma, they are still scrapping. Flex has got the inside. Enigma's going around the outside. He will actually have the inside for the next one. A little bit of touch there between the two, but now Enigma is going to benefit from this. Who got the activation zone? Was it Enigma? Was it Flex's? It's looking like Flex's. And Beaker's race has gone from disastrous to apocalyptic, as he's got a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Can switch to softs though, and will be quick, but he's not going to be able to pull that back, surely. It's going to be way too much for him to try and do that off. But Enigma is still battling, it's still going on. There's Flex is trying to take the outside line. The scrap is never ending. This is for the final podium position. Flex's is still alongside him. How are they doing this? Even into Copsconder's contact. That's Flex's Marcy. He's gone. Look at his back end sliding. He's done enough to keep his car pointing in roughly the right direction, but he will not be happy that he got that punt. I mean, it was risky. There was a very, very small chance it was going to work out. It didn't work out as Enigma ran wide, and that's what happens when you've been scrapping like this for such a long time. Your tyres start to wear on a little bit, and Enigma has run off. He knows that. He says, I'm so sorry, Flexes. I shouldn't have done that. I feel really bad. I'm going to give you the position back. We're going to lose a lot of positions doing it, but I'm going to give you it back as my way of showing to you that I apologise. And Enigma lost 2 places as a result. Now he's going to be on the charge again. They're going to be trying to scrap with Jezza. I'm seeing a lot of good sportsmanship here along the drivers. This is what we like to see, especially in Apex Online Racing, where all the best drivers are at. And to see that not only are they committed to being competitive and being the best driver, They're also committed to being the cleanest and most sportsmanlike, and that, if anything, is very inspirational to all other drivers looking to get involved with these high-tier skill drivers. Jezza, though, on the back of Flexes. Flexes doesn't have the slipstream available to him to be able to defend. I mean, Jezza's gone for a move down the inside. Are we going to see another off there? No, Flexes gives him plenty of space and says, I don't really want to have another spin, thank you. I was battling for P3. There was almost a touch there between the two. Flexes has made the pass happen. Good stuff there from Flexes Marseille to hold on to P7 now, or recover into P7, sorry. Where is Blue? Blue right on the back end of this little battle. Now, the battle for P3 never ended. It just, there was no position changes at all. Rupert seems to be getting a better line out of Beckett's than Paddy does. Although Paddy now, he's right here. He's got the inside. That is a job done. Paddy now up there into P3. And for anybody who has a little bit of OCD, you'll now be very happy to see that it's a green, orange pattern for the top four. And Blue is going to be trying to spoil that. Doing what he can to close in. Enigma still on the back end of Flexes Marseille. This scrap will probably go on for the remainder of this race, as it has done for the majority of this race. I mean, Beaker obviously having a really rough race. I was hoping Flexes made a mistake. Enigma had to back out there. That was actually a little wobble there from Flexes. He's caught it beautifully. Enigma almost goes into the back of Flexes as well. Enigma couldn't capitalize on the mistake just purely because it caught him off guard, and that was a major catch he had to do. He braked, didn't want to hit him again. He already had one incident with him. He doesn't want to have another one. That would have just gone from horrific for him there. And he's not going to make a pass here, I don't think. He's going to. No, he can't. I don't think he expected Flexes to break as early as it did. I mean, you could see that Enigma had like a mild heart attack as he was going through the left-hander. I think it's into the left field, if I remember correctly. And here's Enigma though, still chasing, still giving it the full beans. But this is where we saw him spin last time. He's going to go for an inside line. I think he'll have learned his lesson. You can see he lift off pretty hard there. Oh, Flexes made a mistake. This time it's not Enigma's fault. This time it's Flexes Marseille making the mistake. Here comes the battle, never ending, into Maggots. Coming up to Beckett's now. Who's going to get a better exit? Flexes is in big trouble now with the wing wide open. But remember, when we saw this scrap happen earlier, as soon as Enigma gets into the clean air, they level out. And again, the same situations happen, except Enigma has actually recovered better this time, sorry. And so he takes P8 away from Flexes, this time cleanly. No contact on the track. But I want to point out, though, further upfield, Paddy, who's on those soft tyres, only needs to do 4 more laps on them. We have seen them go that far, and I do think that Paddy will actually be able to take another position away from Race Monster. If Rupert's pace is anything to go by, then Paddy will actually be closing up on him. It's going to be a hell of a race though to get that position taken. 8.4 seconds, 8.5 seconds now. I think I may have actually been a bit too ambitious on that call. Paddy may just be a bit too far back, but Blue's going for a move. Here he goes down the inside. Oh no, that's a network issue that he's been plagued with. That is not what you want to have. It's either a network issue or a game frame rate issue, but he had a stutter, and whatever stutter that was has caused him to go from making a pass into P4 to stuttering back and now being outside of the DRS range of Rupert. That is bad news bears for Blue. But this is the sort of situation that I keep talking about when it comes to the separation of great drivers and the flat out amazing drivers. The amazing drivers will be able to reset their mentality when it comes to stuff like that. They'll be able to just focus on the task at hand and bring themselves back into the race no matter what happened and just close that gap. Same situation as Assassin did earlier, same situation as he's doing right now, and the similar sort of situation as Verstappen is trying to get around Jezza. Jezza had the inside, he's got the faster tyre and fresher tyre. I think that did help him even though he does have the understeer setup, and Jezza holds on to P6 for now. Ribson is on the back of Flexes Marseille. Flex has not been able to recover that position that he lost on Enigma. He is also on much more aged tyres than Enigma's are, but he does have the ability now to be able to just use the slipstream, not make that mistake there. You start to see Flex has become really fragile. Remember, he has got the 3-second time penalty as well, so he will only lose 1 place if it stays the way it is for the end of the race. As I think, actually, never mind, I think Ribson might have a penalty as well. Answers on postcard. We'd love to hear from you, find out if that's the situation. Unfortunately, I don't have visibility of that. Enigma, though, on the back of Verstappen now, actually might be able to collect 2 people's positions. hopefully not collect their car, as we saw him do that earlier to Flex's Marcy. And you've got to give credit to Enigma. The fact that he was up there in P3, he could have very easily let the stewards just punish him for it and get a quali ban or whatever for the next race, but instead he decided to surrender all of those positions. And I think it might. Oh, well, there's a 3-second penalty for Ripson. Here he is now, Enigma. Verstappen's in trouble. Here comes Enigma down on the outside, coming up to. Is he actually going to take 2 places? Oh. I think now that will actually give Verstappen a chance to pull it back. He has lost the position already, but Verstappen now has a chance to actually use that gap. Oh, he was nervous. You could see the fear in his eyes as he broke really hard, locked up the tyres, and he was worried he was going to go into the back of Enigma. But he definitely didn't. Ripson has made the pass happen on Flexes. Flexes obviously made those mistakes earlier on, and he's done it again. This time he's going to make a huge off. Those tyres are definitely gone. Look, he's facing the completely wrong direction. He's now back into the gravel. He's already running really low on the fuel as well. He doesn't actually have enough to be able to get himself up there. And he went from being in a really good points position to now being completely out of the points. And I think it's going to be too little for him to be able to pull it back. His tyres looked a bit too cooked. His back end was very unstable, and that's why we saw Flex's Marcy lost out quite tragically. Sweat you though, he's just had a 3-second time penalty, which will actually cost him the race win, as Race Monster is charging onto the race leader with 2 laps to go. 3 if you include the one that they're on right now. Flexes his day is going from bad to worse. 3-second time penalty for him. Race Monster's got DRS. He has a lot of fuel to play with. Assassin gets a 3-second time penalty. He's also not had a great all time, but he will still gain the place on Ripson. So 2 points are on the table for Assassin. But Sweat You is looking fragile. I haven't seen Sweat You look this fragile in a little while. Here's Race Monster being the monster and giving Sweat You the race. Sweat You is going to have to live to his name now and actually sweat it to try and hold on to the race win. He's going to have to break the 3-second gap, or he's going to have to force Race Monster to make a mistake somehow and get a 3-second time penalty to equal it, and then make sure he still finishes in front of him. It is a lot to do, a lot to ask for from him. I think if anybody can do it, I think Sweat You will be the man to do it. It's just, how's that going to fare out? We'll have to come back next lap and see if he can do it. Here's Jezza though, in this 4-way battle between Enigma, Jezza, Verstappen and Ripson, looking to try and take P6. Enigma's too far back to be able to make a P5 move happen. But Jezza though, he's not too far back. Oh, he made an interesting move there. I think he saw Rupert do that similar sort of flick earlier, which was where he flicked to try and get some cool air into the brakes, make sure he didn't lock up. But it actually cost him. He lost a lot of time, he lost a lot of pace, and now, I mean, Verstappen must have done the same sort of thing, because Verstappen also backed out quite severely. He's now outside of the DRS range. Ripson though, he's right here on the back. Further upfield is Race Monster, almost made a pass on Sweat You. It was just 1/10 separating the two. It's now back to half a second as we approach the final corner to get onto the final lap. Sweat You's done a really solid job to deliver so far this race. Obviously that penalty now is going to cost him. He needs to try his best to pressure Race Monster to make another mistake and get a penalty to match Sweat You's. There's Sweat You having a little bit of teleportation, just jolted back just a touch. Big lock up there on the right hand side for Sweat You. This is crucial. Race Monster can smell the 25 points. He wants this position. He's going to give it everything. He's going to chuck the kitchen sink at Sweat You. He's got the DRS to go with it. He needs to make sure he holds enough ERS for the hanger straight, but he also needs to manage it perfectly. Bit of a wide line there. He will run wide. Didn't get a penalty, which is good news for him. Now he's going to have to put down everything. This is a long race coming up to Cop's Corner. He needs to slipstream the living daylights out of him and do what he can to close it up. Sweat You's looking fragile. Here comes Race Monster. Oh, I thought he was going to get a penalty there, but no, he's kept it together. Coming up to Maggots. Now Race Monster's going to be feeling positive, keeping it delicate. Look, you can see him starting to be a bit nervous. Made it okay there. Get the bear exit. This is what you need to do. Pressure hard. There's your foot buried. I think it's going to be too much to do. Sweat You's further ahead. I mean, he's giving everything to him. I don't know if Race Monster actually knows that Sweat You has that penalty. I don't think he would have asked him. And that's why he's giving it everything for it. He knows it's now too late for him to try. It's why he's in mode 0. Just wants to cross the line. Sweat You locks up. He's panicking. He's freaking out. He's hoping And Sweaty, after doing such a good job in the race, will cross the line first. He actually takes the race win away from Race Monster. That is huge. Sweaty does gain the penalty, the win from the penalty that Race Monster got for the 5-second stop go. Paddy takes P3, huge drive from him. Blue takes P4 due to penalties. Rupert ends up in 5th. Here comes Enigma. There's a big off there. That is Jezza on the final corner. He's lost another place. There's Mulchin. Massive crash. Huge incident between the two. That's massive. Mulchin does cross the line still, and that will count towards him. But Jezza gets penalised so severely for a collision that it wasn't really his fault. He was just a passenger right there. He couldn't do anything. He was facing the wrong direction. There comes Flexes across the line. What a way to end the race. It took off with a bang. And wow, what a race here in Silverstone we just had. We are just waiting for Flash 224 to come across the line, and Beaker to follow him 7.5 seconds later. But oh wow, that was a crazy race. Action all the way throughout. Here is Beaker. He's not had a fun race. He's had a real rough one. I think he's actually in low fuel mode. Yeah, he is. He's run out of fuel on the finish line. But if you're going to run out of fuel anyway, that is where you want to do it. So that is the end of the British Grand Prix here. Sweaty delivered today. He had a bit of a moment where he was actually sweating to living up to his name. And Mercedes gets the double podium. 1 and 3 for them. Really happy as he hoists up the trophy. Very well earned, 25 points. I think, to be honest, he would have actually lost the place if Race Monster didn't have that 5-second penalty for the speeding in the pit lane. But obviously that is the nature of the beast. If you are going to get a penalty, then you are going to have to serve it, and that was what he got. P2 was the best he could muster out of it. It came close, but what a job done there from Sweaty. So here is the rundown after that race. Sweaty does take P1, albeit barely, and Race Monster takes P2. Paddy with the drive of champions, he takes my driver of the day, P3 for him. Blue is P4. Unfortunately lost out to Rupert, gaining back on penalties. But yeah, that little lag spike there cost him. Rupert in 5th, Verstappen in 6th, Enigma 7th, Mulchin, who had a major incident there with Jezza, in 8th, Assassin in 9th. Ripson takes the final points position after multiple penalties as well. Richard is in 11th. Jezza, who we saw have a huge accident on the just to come across the final corner. Flexmaster in 13th, Flash in 14th, and Beaker in 15th. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from us here at the Apex Online Racing in the F4 tier. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. Unfortunately, it was just myself today, Ben Rwaggy McConnell, but I do really want to appreciate your time here, and thank you again for this opportunity. We do look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, for more Apex Online Racing action. Take care.